We have returned from the trenches. We have returned from the smelliness of the smellies of all times. We have finally secured our Switch 2 pre-order. And, had to go through some hiccups to get it, but as you've seen the world unfolding last night with all the chaos on the internet, it was the best bet to go in person. So that's what we did. Let's dive in and tell about the whole experience for you. But first, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out tremendously. So naturally, like any sane person, you're probably thinking, okay, well, the pre-orders are really not going to be an issue because everyone really does not want the Switch 2 because the whole internet is telling you that the Switch 2 is not going to be successful. And the whole internet is telling you, oh, wow, no one's going to get this. It's cost too much. The prices are too much. No one's going to buy this. Meanwhile, I've been telling you the quite freaking opposite because I know exactly what the situation is. So, of course, the websites that are mainly popular, Walmart, Best Buy, and GameStop, had issues with the pre-orders last night. Of course, websites were shutting down, websites were loading slow. Sometimes your orders would go through and you would get canceled. I didn't bother with any of this because, quite frankly, I had a trick up my sleeve and I knew that it would probably work for the better. That trick was simply going in person, quite frankly. So most GameStops opened up this morning and had an option to go in person and get your pre-orders. Now, what I did was just simply call the day before and see how much they were going to have in there. And then, pretty much it gives you an idea of kind of what the time frame is going to be like. But the thing is that we live in the year 2025. You know what that means? It means that no one wants to freaking go outside. You have a whole bunch of people who pretty much never want to leave their house. So people are scared to go outside. So I pretty much knew, okay, well, if I go in person, probably a good chance that we might be able to acquire one. And that was exactly the case. Got there maybe about an hour or so before opening, and there were some people in line. Now, apparently there were 2 or 3 people who camped out there the night before, which is pretty ridiculous. But look, of course, these guys were older. They were probably there during the Halo days, and I understand that too. Look, I was prepared for this. I've lived through this. I've done it for Halo. I did it for some other stuff too. I can't remember what it was for, but I've done those midnight launches and whatnot. So I am not a stranger to this. I'm from that era, so I understand it. This does not deter me. So we went out there nonetheless, and we sat there in line. I was probably about 15. The store I went to had like 30 something of the bundle, 15 of the regular. So I was about 15. By the time we went inside, there was like 40, 50 people in line. Some did not get it. Sucks to suck, but we did acquire ours without much issue there. Of course, we got the bundle because any sane person would not be paying $80 for Mario Kart World when you can just get the bundle and save tremendously on that. But I'm just saying, any sane person, like, obviously the bundle is going to be the more popular one. I don't see why the hell you would not get the bundle. But nonetheless, that's what we got, and that's how it was. But while we were in line, something crazy occurred. It's probably about, 30, 40 minutes till opening or so, and, well, it starts to rain. It starts a little drizzle, and then it starts to rain, starts to come down. People are getting wet. Now, let me tell you, y'all, if you've ever been to an anime convention, a gaming convention, you probably know this smell. Now, just pretty much, the smell of what I'm talking about, the smell. I don't really want to describe it because I don't want to offend anyone, but, usually you grab a whole bunch of gamers and people like that who don't really leave or their house to just play games 24/7, and probably get majority of them take a shower probably about once every 3 months. And you apply that with rain, and now you have an issue on your hands, and that's pretty much what that was. So for probably about 10 to 15 minutes or so, I was pretty much dying from poison gas. Would not recommend to a friend. Definitely not a 10 out of 10 experience. Definitely a 0 out of 10 for about those 15 minutes. But it did start to dry up a little bit, and things got a bit better. So fortunately, we were able to come out of the goopy goop and come away with a receipt for a pre-order. So of course we went to GameStop, and it was a $50 down payment for the deposit. And then of course they have an option as well where you can go in and you can do a trade-in for your Switch and get some money back. You can get up to $175 off the Switch 2, which I was like, oh dude, that's a freaking banger, bro. That is a freaking banger. You could get almost $200 off of the Switch 2 price off the top over at GameStop. I was like, bro, this is definitely happening. 100%. So that's exactly what I plan to do because there ain't no reason. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with the normal Switch? With the Switch 2? Now I've secured the pre-order. What am I gonna do with the normal Switch? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's backwards compatible. What am I gonna do? So obviously, I'm going to take over there and cut off that top. Obviously, like, a logical person would do. But nonetheless, we did secure our pre-order. This was the experience that we had here. So there was about 50 people, 50, 40, 50 people total by the time we were going inside. When I got there, it was about 15 or so, 15 to 20. And it moved along very nicely once the doors opened. So pretty much you had like one guy letting the people in. There was 15 at a time. And then they would lock the door as each person would leave and exit. Or exit and enter. They would lock the door so that way people couldn't just like walk up and go in, right? And that way everything was like real uniform. So it was a pretty smooth experience. I think they did a good job. It definitely beats trying to refresh the page over and over and over again online, like a lot of y'all did. Look, I have gone through the GPU launches. I knew not to play with that. I knew not to. I was not going to rack my head over that. Some people were spending hours only to get emails saying that your order got canceled. I was not going to do that. I figured, like I said, I figured there was a good chance I'd be able to get one in person because people nowadays do not want to go and line up for these things. Whereas, like I said, I'm from that era where you go there and you camp out and stuff. I actually camped out for, I think, one of those Halo launches, maybe Halo 2. I'm pretty sure I camped out with like me and the buddies. So I have been there. It's in my blood. The grind is in my blood. So I figured I'd go there, and it worked out fabulous. So now we have that. Now we have to wait till June 5th. We are good to go. Apparently their midnight launch is actually at like 11 or something like that. So we'll have it at plenty of time. You know what I'm saying? So like we'll have it June 4th. So I mean, hey, it works out. It works out. We're excited for it. But nonetheless, I figured I'd let y'all know the experience was. Let y'all know to please shower before you go wait in the lines like this, especially if it's outside and there's a chance for rain and it's humid as all hell because it was very humid. Please shower. Just please put deodorant, like masking your old shirt with deodorant does not. No, just shower, please, for all of us, please. But nonetheless, hopefully this experience was interesting for you. Oh, by the way, I was the only black guy there, but there's one girl there, and then two other girls showed up at the very end. Not sure if they got one, but I thought that was neat to know. Oh, there was a mixed guy, but he was working behind the counter. So, yep, but it worked out okay. At any rate, be sure to like, subscribe, y'all. See you on the next one. Much love, Holly. Spike content.